Hey guys, Sheri Richardson from Experimental Homesteader, Exotic Gardening, SheriAnnRicherson.com, and buyinyourblog.com, and welcome to our daily vlog. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about food shortages and different ways that you can store food. I had noticed when I was in the back end of Google Search Console and I was looking around at different search terms that one of the big things people are looking for is what to do about the food shortages, how to survive, what to do for long-term food storage. And with the situation with Russia and the Ukraine right now, the grocery store shelves being so bare, and now is not going to be the easiest time to start your food storage, but I feel like very possibly it is the time if you don't already have stuff that you have stocked up on. I am actually working on a blog post, long-term survival food supply options. I had to try to read that from over here. And it's going to be talking about some of the different freeze-dried food companies that are out there. There are a lot of them. And I have tried some of the different ones. Mountain House, which a lot of people are familiar with, is easy to pick up because it's available at Walmart. They have the big buckets over in the bulk food section. They have individual packages back in the camping section, which, by the way, the freeze-dried ice cream sandwiches are absolutely delicious. And not good for you, but delicious nonetheless. Some of the other items, like the biscuits and gravy, we did not enjoy. It's already mixed together, and it's kind of like slop. I guess if we would have been in a true survival situation, maybe we would have dealt with it better. But it was something that we tried, and I was going to stock up on, and I just didn't care for it. Neither did Jeff. So we kept searching. Lehman's hardware store over in Ohio actually sells raw freeze-dried meat. And it does have the 25-year shelf life as long as it's unopened. Now, here's what's really unusual about this, and I haven't called to see if I can repackage. That's something that I want to do, but I just haven't yet. I picked out the freeze-dried pork chops and the freeze-dried chicken tenders. Now, this stuff is not cheap, but I don't remember if it's Sezzle. I think it's Sezzle they take. It may be a firm. Anyway, they do have a payment option that you can sign up and qualify for. So if you can't afford, I think it was $60 for a big number 10 family can, if I remember right. I may be wrong about this. And of course, prices could have changed since I bought mine. But you can break that down into, I think it was 4 payments. Might have been 6. It depends on how much you actually spend. And because I bought multiple items, freeze-dried food stuff for the Aladdin lamps that I have, what they wasn't out of. The Aladdin mantles are completely sold out, and they told me September of 2022. That just really doesn't get it for me because I need some mantles, and I can't get those. So I have to go in here and get a drink, guys. I'm sorry. I try not to get up and move around when I'm on video, but I'm going to have to. So anyway, the Aladdin mantles are just sold out every place. I did find one at the Ace Hardware store here in town. And I also And it was only $14 because it was old priced. Like, it had been there a long, long time. So it had like a really old price. I bought one on eBay that was like $60. So, of course, sellers are jacking prices up because they know there's a shortage. And there's nothing new about that. I mean, this has been going on forever. So they are, I think, $25 or $30 brand new. But like I said, you can't get them. So, you do what you got to do. And I felt like, well, I have 3 Aladdin lamps. I need at least 2 to get me by in case we need them. So that's what I did. Now they are working, but like I said, it was a combination of buying stuff through Amazon, through eBay, and through Ace Hardware here in town in order to get those 2 working. So, and if you're wondering why I didn't already have those working, it's because they came up at an online auction and I bid on them and I ended up getting them. So I got 2 and then a friend had one that she sold me. So that's how I ended up with 3 Aladdins. They are a lot different from other types of oil lamps in both the light that they put out and the heat that they put out. So if you don't have an Aladdin oil lamp, I highly, highly recommend one. Anyway, back to, because I've got off track here, which I do, back to the food storage. I am probably going to say this wrong, but fact is I'm going to get up and spell this for you. It's Augason Farms. It's Augason. And it is freeze-dried food that is available on Amazon. And also, if you don't know, Amazon takes Sezzle, and you can make payments on things over there too. So there are ways to get survival foods and get stocked up on a budget. That is really, really good food. When the blueberries that I bought came in, I opened them up and I ate through a number 10 can of blueberries all by myself within a couple weeks. I did not rehydrate them. Well, actually, I did. I made some banana blueberry muffins. And so just a handful to go in those muffins I rehydrated. But the rest of them I ate just freeze-dried, crunchy, delicious. Really satisfied my need to snack on something crunchy. So I know a lot of people worry about, well, if you don't have water, how are you going to rehydrate some of this? The fruits are good just like they are. There's no need to rehydrate them unless you're going to use them in a recipe. Otherwise, just eat them like you would a chip or any other snack food. I have heard people say that the vegetables are also really good, freeze-dried. I have not tried that yet. Have I even tried any? I'm not sure that I have tried any freeze-dried vegetables yet. I do have packages of those. But I don't think, now I'm trying to think here. I don't think I've tried those. I think that I've got them and I haven't done anything with them. I have tried the freeze-dried meat. We found through Home Shopping Network, they sell the Wise Company survival foods, and again, payments, individual payments. So you can do this on a budget. We bought a big container of the meat. And so there was packets of chicken, and there was packets of hamburger, there was packets of beef. different types of meat, individually packaged. And the one thing that I did find out, the first time that I tried the freeze-dried meat, I cooked it exactly like the instructions said. And I had noticed that there was still some liquid in the pan, and I thought, well, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. It was a little bit crunchy. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't quite like fresh meat. And so we ate it, but I was just thinking, well, this is going to be something that we're definitely going to have to adjust to. And then the second time I did it, I thought, I'm just going to cook it a little longer and see if I can get it to absorb all of this liquid. And it did. And that was so much closer to fresh meat than what we'd had the first time. It was so much more enjoyable to eat. And so I do recommend, you don't just buy the freeze-dried foods and put them in your cabinet and forget about them. Actually cook with them. The big number 10 cans, they do draw moisture, because at the end, the blueberries were starting to draw moisture. So my suggestion for that is to put them in some kind of airtight container, use some oxygen absorbers. I know when I opened my can of carrots that I have, I'm going to repackage those into the Mylar bags with the oxygen absorbers. And I'm hoping that's what I can do with that raw meat. Okay, now back to the raw meat. Here's the thing about it that is really, really interesting. So it says, once the can is opened, you can leave it at whatever the room temperature is for 30 days, and that raw meat is still good. You can refrigerate it for up to a year. So I'm thinking, okay, if the power is out and you need to eat, you could open a can of, say, the freeze-dried pork chops, and while you might get mighty sick of pork chops, you've got a month to eat those up in. So depending on your family size and how much you eat, maybe you would open the pork chops and the chicken at the same time and just alternate. I can't imagine, unless you have a very large family, that you would go through whatever is in there, because these are, like I said, these are number 10 cans. They're family size. They're pretty big. Having not opened them yet, I can't tell you what's inside as far as how many. I think when I ordered, it gave an estimate, but I was more concerned about trying to find freeze-dried foods that we would enjoy that was a little bit closer to what normal would be. So we don't do a lot of chicken tenders here, but I thought, well, we might enjoy that. We definitely do a lot of pork chops, even though I don't like pork, but, sometimes you have to buy what's on sale. So, that sounds awful, but, so I thought, well, you prepare those just like you would a fresh pork chop. You soak them in some water, and you could put some breadcrumbs on them. You could use shake and bake on them. You could use, cook them however you normally do. And they're supposed to be just like, a fresh pork chop. I had wanted to try those when my daughter was here, and my husband felt like we needed to leave those set and not dig into them. So that's what we did. The other meat that I bought from the Wise Company, it is crumbled and cubed. So not whole, but still there's a lot that you can do with it. I mean, The little packages that I got are more like individual servings. You can buy the number 10 cans. So you could buy ground beef and you could make tacos, use the ground beef in lasagna, just any way that you normally would. The chicken is cubed, so you could use it to make chicken pot pie. You could use it in chicken and noodles. Any dish that you would normally use cubed chicken in. So the other thing that I had thought about, and realizing that this is less compact, should I have to leave. But let's face it, we're not going to be taking number 10 cans with us because nobody has that kind of room. So food that was not in bags would get left behind anyway. Just like home canned food. It would get left behind because it's just not practical to take all those mason jars with you. But another thing that I had thought about with the dehydrated and freeze-dried food, and I just haven't done it yet because my understanding is when you open the bags of oxygen absorbers, you need to use them up pretty quickly or reseal them because they immediately start picking up any moisture that's in the air. So my thought had been to use some of the larger canning jars that I have and make meals in jars using the dehydrated and the freeze-dried food. That way, everything is right there that I may need, and all I would have to do is, say, grab a jar of chicken pot pie or grab a jar of au gratin potatoes. Because really, all au gratin potatoes are dehydrated potatoes and cheese mix, and you can buy powdered cheese. So I think one thing to do is to think about this in a different way. Can you squeeze out, say, $10 a week, $20 a week out of your budget? Can you give something up? And I know gas prices and everything are up, and I know people are having a hard time. But can you squeeze something else out of your budget that you could do without to be able to get some freeze-dried food and do it on payments? Do you have a credit card that you haven't been using that you could go ahead and charge one can on and save up that money and pay it off so you're not paying interest on it? Lots of things to consider and think about. Save up your change. Every time you get change, instead of putting it in your pocket or purse, put it in a vase or a jar at home. And when you have enough change saved up, use that change to buy some extra food. Because like I said, freeze-dried food isn't cheap, but it does have a 25-year shelf life. And it doesn't rely on electricity to keep it from going bad. So I definitely encourage you to start thinking about this and stocking up. Use your tax check. Set $100 out of your tax check aside and buy a bucket of food. Freeze-dried food does come in buckets. If you're not a picky eater, that's a great option. And possibly one of the cheapest ways to stock up. So find a way. Start thinking about ways you can use the food that you are buying. If you don't know how to can, I highly encourage you to learn. Because if the grid goes down and you have a freezer full of meat and you don't know how to can that, it's going to go bad. Especially if it's a long-term grid down situation. So learn how to can or pair up with somebody that does. And keep that freezer full of meat because it's convenient, but know what you need to do and have everything you need to do it in the event of a worst case scenario. I hope that gives you guys some things to think about. Please ask me questions below in the comments. Tell me what you need to know. How can I help you to learn to become more self-sufficient and become stocked up so that in an emergency situation, you and your family are good, you have what you need, and it's a lot less stressful than it is for someone who doesn't have the supplies that they need. Thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments below, and we'll see you tomorrow with another daily vlog. Have a great night.